Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this Thursday afternoon. It's amazing over the last 8 days in college football, college athletics, the changes since the story a week ago on Wednesday that Oklahoma and Texas were headed or would be headed to the SEC and everything that's happened. Then yesterday, it kind of switches a little bit. A&M last night voted that they would accept the invitations of Texas and Oklahoma. The SEC has their meeting as well. Not sure if that's been not delayed or whatever might happen because of yesterday. Bob Bowlesby sends ESPN a letter with Torch's interference and threatening them because he has evidence that they have, well, that they've been a part of this whole thing and trying to break up the Big 12. And then on top of that, we'll have a minute in just a second. ESPN has responded to Bob Bowlesby. And then also I learned this, and I'm amazed. I put this story up earlier in the premium section and also on Twitter. Baylor's president, Dr. Linda Livingstone, and AD Mack Rhodes went to Austin on Tuesday to meet with Governor Abbott to explain to him. And by the way, this had nothing in the discussion from what I'm being told that really centered about Texas and Oklahoma. We know that ship has sailed. That doesn't mean that there's some other stuff legally that's going on with the Big 12, whatever. But they went down there to try to see if Governor Abbott, who, yes, they know, although some of you don't act like they do as a UT guy, he's the governor of Texas, but they went down there to say, listen, the state of Texas has more Power 5 conference schools than anybody. 5. I think North Carolina might have 4. Florida may have, 3. And then who else? And it was not, I don't think it was, based on just kind of me doing some due diligence to try to block the change. That's up to Bowlesby and Big 12 and all them. But they were trying to say that the state of Texas still has a presence outside of Texas and A&M, and that we should, Baylor, try and keep that, if they can, intact. I saw Houston fans, where the hell were you 20 years ago or 25 years ago? I get that too. I understand that. But right now is right now. And so how many of the responses were from UT fans thinking that this was to try to block them from the SEC? That's not the case here. It wasn't about you for once in your life. It was about Baylor talking to the governor, who probably has more important things on his plate, you would think, but he did give them an audience, and they had a chance to visit with him.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Smokey. I think maybe one of the problems was when this happened the last time, everybody was focused on everybody, the first thing that happened was the schools trying to sue A&M to keep them from leaving the Big 12, when they didn't do that to Nebraska and Colorado. Nebraska and Colorado paid their exit fees and left, or whatever they were at that time, which were far less than they are now. The focus became on, let's try to make A&M stay, and that was ultimately a huge waste of time and money. So now, knowing that you're not going to win that, and knowing that Texas and Oklahoma have already made up their mind and that the wheels have been in motion for a long time, don't focus on them anymore. That's a waste of time.
Exactly.
Focus on you and focus on the ones that are there, and then make sure that those schools are well positioned for whatever the next thing is, because the last time was a tremendous mistake and a waste of time and energy and money trying to say that A&M should stay, and their legal basis was, well, out of respect for the state of Texas and football. Well, there's no legal precedent for that.
No.
It's not like tortious interference, which we're going to hear about in a minute.
Dr. Livingstone and Mack Rhodes were there, obviously representing Baylor, but it also sounds like, in fact, they were also there, as others around the state have done, to represent what Texas Tech is dealing with, what TCU is dealing with. And who knows, if you're a Houston fan, yeah, I know in 96 you were left at the front door, or maybe the back door, I don't know, or Rice or SMU. Well, who knows what happens if they can stabilize, remain Power 5, and if maybe one or all of you in some way can be a part of it. So it is kind of something that's connected to perhaps those fan bases as well. Now, ESPN has responded to Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, and I was on the phone last night with a couple of people who are in the attorney, lawyer, law firm business about what he did. Here's the letter. Do we have it, Armstrong? The letter from the ESPN to Bob Bowlesby. Dear Bob, you got it? Okay. Dear Bob, this response to you, letter dated July 28 yesterday. The accusations you have made are entirely without merit. apart from a single vague allegation that ESPN has been actively engaged in discussions with at least one other unnamed conference, which ESPN disputes, your letter consists entirely of unsubstantiated speculation and legal conclusions. To be clear, ESPN is engaged in no wrongful conduct, and thus there is nothing to cease and desist. We trust this will put the matter to rest. ESPN reserves all rights and remedies in connection with this matter. From Burke Magnus, who the letter from Bob Bowlesby was on yesterday evening.
Here's something I know is going to be disputed by the Big 12 Conference. The second to last sentence. We trust that this will put this matter to rest. No, it won't. Because if he really has something, which I like, to me, I don't think Bob Bowlesby's the kind of guy to stunt. It's not in his nature.
Well, even if, let's say he doesn't. Even if this slows the process down for a week or a month, are you going to do that to your TV partner, knowing that if you don't have something with them, that perhaps there's something, then they can sit there and pop back at you?
Yeah.
I would think, I don't know, I'm sure, he's not an idiot, although some people think at times he's been. His attorneys at the Big 12 also, I'm sure, combed over this, just like ESPN did before they responded to him.
I know, here's my assessment of Bob Bowlesby as a leader and a person who runs the conference. I think that he is unfairly, like, Dan Beebe was a puppet. That was what Dan Beebe was. Chuck Ninus was the bridge guy, and Bob Bowlesby was the guy they brought in. Bob Bowlesby is an academic and intellectual. Like, he sees, his mind works on a plane that's way up here, right? And sports works on a plane that's kind of right here, and Bob is supposed to be the guy who kind of to bring those guys together. I think where Bob has gotten lost as the commissioner is that he is too smart for his own good sometimes. He's so intelligent and he has so many things going on that sometimes I think it prevents him from acting. Some people like to kind of sit and watch or wait or they overthink things. I think that might be his deal because he is, again, we've talked to him many, many times. He's a brilliant person. He's totally brilliant, but that does not mean that he's the best guy to lead something. Look, Jimmy Carter might have been the smartest president we ever had. I wasn't alive then, Smokey, you were. His presidency was fraught with problems. Doesn't mean he wasn't smart. It's applying those, that intellect in the right place, and I think that's where Bob Bowlesby's kind of gotten lost.
Yeah, maybe he's too smart for his own good. That's surely never something's ever said to me or I've been guilty of at all. Now, the YouTube chat going. Yesterday on YouTube, according to Armstrong, we were averaging 14 chat messages each minute for 3 consecutive hours. Thank you. On the text line, 254-339-1122, also the same number to call the show, and we'll take calls from you. And I think 35-plus states have been a part of the show the last week about a lot of what we're talking about. The text line last night, I spent an hour yesterday evening responding to a lot of you who are watching the replay and texting us, and thank you, along with those who have already started texting, in fact, today. All right, so that's kind of to set the tone for where we are. Cecil Hurt has been working at the Tuscaloosa News, covering Alabama everything since, I think, 1981. That's the first year I got into the business, so I know he's old like me, and it's been a long time covering the SEC. He'll join us at 3:30. Sports attorney Dan Lust at 4 o'clock to kind of give us some legal ways of maybe explaining it in layman's terms. Mickey Spagnola and John Machota cover the Cowboys in California, 4:30 and 5. And Craig, who's not here right now, he had to go to an insurance claim at a local car dealership, should be here anytime to be a part of the show. By the way, thanks to Three Nations Beer. They sponsored our Big 12 coverage 2 weeks ago. Heard from John Royer today. They've extended their advertising with us in marketing and also support as a sponsor through the rest of the year and into the Super Bowl month of January/February.
Also, as of Monday, we'll welcome BetUS.
BetUS, absolutely.
To the program, and that's going to be some exciting stuff. So you gamblers out there, get ready.
One more thing on ESPN and all of this. Armstrong, do we have the Dan Le Batard, who does a show, he's part of ESPN for a long time. John Skipper, who ran ESPN for the longest of time.
Essentially created what they are.
He's now a part of the same group with Le Batard and has a show. So there was like a 21-minute interview that a lot of you sent to me. I listened to all of it, and it's all about the coming and going and the power struggles and turf wars and all of that. But this is just a clip when Le Batard asked John Skipper about all of this, whatever you want to call it. For some of you, exhilaration. For some of you, it's nightmare, and some in between, just drama and chaos. Here it is.
Is this all the instigation of ESPN? Is this all your fault?
I'd like to take the fifth. Do I have rights? I don't know whether my rights apply here on freedom.
Just say you got hacked, John.
Okay, say I got hacked?
Yes.
Okay.
Taking the fifth is always a great way to end the segment.
All right, so that's John Skipper with Le Batard on that show. Tonight, the NBA draft. 2 Baylor players expected to go. Davion Mitchell early, and then possibly Jared Butler in the first round as well because of the health clearance he got a couple of weeks ago. We had both of them on multiple times throughout the year and also during the offseason.
Before we get to our callers, by the way, Nebraska, I think, becomes call and text. We need to keep a map of like what we've gotten call and text you both. So I think Nebraska gets the double check mark here in a second. But what John Skipper is saying there is like, he's pleading the fifth because, yes, this was ESPN's plan all along. This is Disney's plan. We had a great caller yesterday from Pennsylvania, Charlie, that said, look, this is all about the monopolization and what's going on. And you know, the cover it's given us, this is capitalism. It's not capitalism. Monopolies are not capitalism. It's cronyism. And Disney. And look, I think we're all kind of part of this where there's something that we want that a big company has done for us, so we kind of ignore the bad things they're doing. Like, for example, you know, I'm a fan of the Marvel movies. I want to see a good Fantastic Four movie. Disney bought it. Great. Well, what did that mean? That means that they bought the RSWs, they meant all these things, and they vertically integrated everything down with ESPN, meaning that they can do these crazy things, right?
Yeah. They just gobble. And, it's interesting. By the way, in that interview with John Skipper, one of the things he mentioned is the Longhorn Network kind of was created by ESPN, although UT went to them for this. ESPN said they wanted to do it because that was part of adding money to their bank account for Texas because they didn't want Texas to be a part of the Pac-12. So there's a little bit of background. UT did nothing wrong. They wanted something. They went to ESPN. They got a bunch of money. Good for them. They're one of the few that can do that. All right, here we go.